Hey guys, it's me. I just wanted to go over a couple of things because if you are sitting in the class waiting for me to look at your draft, there's things you can do to keep moving forward. Never, ever, ever sit waiting, staring at your screen, doing nothing. If all else fails, please do the following. Make sure you have a header. Make sure you have page numbers. Make sure that you have no spelling errors. You are all at home virtual this week. There's really no excuse for not doing this. The single best editing tool is to read out loud. Your ear will catch what your eye autocorrects. Believe it or not, your eye and your brain will autocorrect words, but your ear will always tingle because it doesn't have the same kind of compulsion. Make sure your side has an argument to it. I don't want to see both sides have good qualities. That does not mean bash the opposing side. If you are going into terms where you're being rude or name calling, it's not appropriate for argumentative essays. So pull it back. Also, something I've noticed is that regardless of sort of what side you're arguing for, many of you are using terms that are far too general. So for example, some of you are saying either people dislike Trump because he's Republican or people dislike Biden because he's Democratic. You have a 4-paragraph essay, not a 50-page manifesto. It is too much for you to put those terms out there and then put it on you in 1 paragraph to define all the complexities of what that means. But despite what you might feel, those terms do not and should not have like an auto feature to them. Like to say that people do not like Trump because he is Republican does not automatically list several things underneath him. Same thing with Biden. To say that people don't like Biden because he's Democratic does not automatically give a list of things that he must intrinsically be in support of. I really encourage you, because A, it is the task. It is an easier task to write a 4-paragraph essay. But also B, it's a much more sort of, manageable way to think about the situation. You have to actually pick some sort of topic within that. So, as some of you wrote on, you came to say things about the economy, things about the handling of the virus, things about job opportunities, equality, police. Those are the things you want to start with. You don't want to start by saying it's a Republican or Democratic issue and then assuming later on that the only people who talk about those things are your candidates. It leaves a huge logical gap, and you don't want that because it makes your side look weaker. When arguing, stand firmly on your own 2 feet. Do not bash the opposing side, but acknowledge what they are talking about, interested in, or concerned with. A good example of this is something to the effect of like abortion. So some of you are arguing about the sort of importance of voting for abortion rights. 1, people who are pro-choice do not necessarily hate those who are pro-life, and those who are pro-life do not necessarily hate those who are pro-choice. So try to keep any terms that assume antagonism out of it. When you are looking at the counter argument, so after you make your claim, say for pro-choice, you want to say, here is what a pro-lifer believes. You don't want to reduce it. You don't want to oversimplify it, which is very similar to reducing it. You don't want to leave anything out of those arguments. You want to give them their proper and respectful space. So if your argument is that it's a healthcare concern and their argument is that it's a moral concern, let them have their argument. People who are pro-life believe that this is a moral argument related more to the ending of lives and necessarily, in many cases, it is connected with they do not want their taxable money, their tax income, supporting something they morally disagree with. This is something that you may have to address directly, because what are you supposed to do? Ignore that? That's a very valid point. If Amendment 1 says I have the right to my religion, freedom of religion, don't I get to say if something conflicts with that? Is your stance that all taxable money, taxed income, should not necessarily be decided by the morality of the people who are being taxed? That's a big thing. I mean, if you continue extending that logic, it can go to troubling places. Do you say that you cannot distinguish morality within medical care? Is that your response to the argument? I am not telling you which side to have. I'm merely suggesting how you should approach the topic, which is your side, their side, and how you respond to their side. Do this as coolly as you can. Now, it's a big ask. There are adults around you who are having trouble not devolving into yelling and screaming over argumentative topics. It's huge to learn to keep your cool with them. So if you find yourself struggling with that, get it out on the paper and then say to me, hey, I need some help. While you are waiting for me, another important thing that you should do, a couple of you are already doing it, it's extremely helpful, and I think the rest of you should adopt it. You should go through your paper, highlight with the highlighter or the comment tool, whichever, or both. You should highlight or bring attention to, with the comment button, places you want me to read specifically and tell me what you think I should be reading for. So for example, if you know the phrasing is off, but you don't know how and you don't know how to fix it, highlight it and say, I don't know how to phrase this better. If you're worried about your transitions, if you're worried about your thesis, if you're worried about, does this example do what I want it to do? Do you understand what I mean when I use this example, or is there a better one? These are the types of comments that make reading your paper much better, faster, more precise, more helpful. You don't want me just reading top to bottom. When I'm reading top to bottom on the essay, I am looking for major glaring errors, but I'm not going to have time to finesse your essay because I have to get to 20 some odd other kids. So if you just say read it, I'm going to read it looking for kind of big glaring red flags. If you really want to get better at a specific skill, let me know what you're looking for, because I could probably show you how to do it in the first body paragraph, and then you could apply it to the second one yourself. Then you'll get more specific help. All right, this is just a little what you should be doing while waiting for me. We have today, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday during class, if you have me, to work on these papers. You are working on them at home in your spare time, and Wednesday at 11:59 they are due. I extended it past Election Day because someone made a very compelling argument that that last day was kind of a waste. You know, you would naturally want that day for the essay. And I realized that they were correct. So we'll just say that it was due on Election Day, but it's really due on the 4th, which is Wednesday, 11:59. Catch you kids in a few minutes.